Hello everybody, this is Paige from Mosaic Moments, and today I am going to be showing you different ideas with our Ombre grid paper collection. This is one of my favorite collections, so this is going to be a fun one today. And I organized these pages by color, and if you're not familiar with the Ombre collection, there's 6 different colors and they have this gradient. So it usually has one color and then it shifts over to another color. So the first color I have here is Dawn, and as you can see, it has this purple corner and it turns into green and it becomes this greenish yellow. It's not yellow, but it's kind of a greenish yellow. So I'm going to put this right here for now. And so I'm just going to show you how versatile Ombre collection can be. And the first layout I have here is a garden layout. This is spring. And this is when we were actually digging out the garden. So a lot of these photos have brown. They're not particularly pretty. But with the Ombre paper, it adds color to your dull photographs. And Ombre is fairly bright. It's not as bright as like our summer grid paper collection, but it is pretty bright to use on a lot of things. So anytime you have like these dull, kind of like here where it's all brown, I think Ombre can add a bit more color. That's a lot of fun. I really love Ombre collection when we do adventures. In this case, this was a Segway tour in downtown Richmond, and there was a lot of fun murals, and usually with something that's a bit more exciting of a trip. I really like the Ombre collection. Ombre to me says exciting. So anytime you go on an exciting adventure, like a Segway tour, for example, Ombre is perfect for that. And again, I have a lot of color in the photographs here that are a lot of fun. I think this was a great background choice for these Segway tour photographs. And of course, Ombre is perfect for the summer, any summer layout. So if you're going to the beach, or in this case, this is a water park, or if you're going to the pool, Ombre is an excellent choice for that. And usually with grid paper where there's multiple colors, I actually like to pull the colors from the grid paper. So I have this bright, it's like a purple, it's almost pink looking, but it is like a very bright purple. It's not very bright purple on here, but there is purple. And then I found a pattern paper that coordinated, and I think this is a really fun one. This is our hip hop dye, by the way. Really fun one for summer layouts, but you can see how fun this is. That Ombre layout, or the Ombre background, really adds a lot of fun colors. And usually at the pool, you probably have a lot of blue from the water. And so the Ombre is really good if your photos primarily have one color and you're like, oh, how can I, add color? Ombre is a great choice. It's very easy when your whole background has that color. All right, next up I have Afterglow. Afterglow has a little bit of purple, but it mainly is this bright pink, and it turns into this really pretty orange. This is one of the prettiest papers in the pack, in my personal opinion. And this is one I think a lot of people might be a little bit more afraid to use, so I'm going to show you a few ideas today. It's, of course, perfect for feminine layouts. This is my sister from several years ago, and these are photos taken at it's taken at Colonial Williamsburg, but it's kind of showing more of their garden areas. And I found this paper with the flowers, and I think it matches really well. There's a lot of pinks and purples, and the mats are actually the back of our grape paper from the Cool Drinks collection. So sometimes I use the back of the grid paper for mats, and I think Cool Drinks I think that's one of the ones that could work a lot with the Ombre collection, but I just love this background. I think it's so pretty, and again, works really well for feminine layouts. This one, the photos were taken in, if you've been to Animal Kingdom and Disney World, there's a section inspired by India, and that is what this layout is all about. So I have this paper designs inspired by that part of the world, and it just happened to work with this background. There's some pinks and oranges in here, And I did add some brown cardstock to tone it down. So if you feel like the ombre is overwhelming, you can always add a neutral like white, brown. I don't know if I recommend black, but that could work in some cases. So this is a really fun one. Of course, India has a lot of really fun, bright colors. So I think ombre works really well. Here's another one here. I wanted to show this idea because of the black and white photographs. So Afterglow is very bright. And I even topped it off with I even added some really bright pattern paper on this layout, and the mats are this bright yellow. So if you are interested in making a layout that's really bright, ombre is a great background choice. But if the photos are feeling too much, you can always turn them black and white like I did here. Black and white is usually great for portraits. So I like this layout because there's so many fun colors going on. And like I said, if the photos are adding way too much, you can always tone it down by making it black and white, and that balances everything out. So ombre is a great choice if you're going to be using black and white photographs, because I think black and white photographs stand out a lot on bright colors. All right, the next color is Golden Hour, and this one tends to be one of the common ones we use. This one starts out with this, it's kind of an aqua color, so a blue-green color, and it turns into this yellow. It's almost like an orange yellow in this corner right here. This is a very pretty one. It's probably one of the most versatile colors in the pack. And ombre works really well with outdoor photos. So outdoor photos, a lot of times I do pick grid paper colors and cardstock that, are green, browns, those natural colors. But if you're feeling like that's getting too dull, or if you want something a bit more exciting, ombre is a great choice. I love it for outdoor pages because, like I said, it adds color to the page and it makes it more fun. I think it gives a fun, vibrant feel. And here Jody, she did add brown, and there's this pattern paper with some off-white going on. So it has that kind of natural element tied in with these bright colors like the teals. And again, there's teal here. She tied in more different tones of teal on the layout as well. This is a really fun one. This is our honeycomb dies. So you can make a lot of fun designs on here. This is a great layout. Again, I love this for outdoor photos when you want to add something more vibrant and fun. You can also use photos. This was actually taken in the winter time, and this is in Washington, D.C. So I think ombre can work really well for cities too. Cities tend to have a lot of fun, bright, and it's a vibrant atmosphere. I think ombre fits with downtown areas really well. In this case, I think Golden Hour is a great choice if you want something a little more like soft. It's kind of has nice soft colors, has kind of like that. I don't think this one's called, let me see, it's called Golden Hour. So I really like the colors Jody chose here. She chose these pattern paper with some blues and yellows, and this here is blue. It looks really nice. It doesn't feel too overwhelming and bright, but it works well with her photos. It adds a bit more color to her photos too. In the wintertime, especially if you live on the East Coast, the trees have lost their leaves and everything looks brown, and ombre really adds character to these photos. All right, here's another one here. These photos were taken at a garden. I do think ombre works with masculine photos as well. And here's the Beaumont dies. Look at these. There's some kind of, I don't think they're edible, but some kind of fruit looking, some kind of plant that kind of looks like a fruit. And it really coordinates with this background really well, in my opinion. And here I have brown mats as well. Again, brown is a nice neutral when everything feels a little bit too bright. Go with a neutral color. This is a great one. Again, can be great. Ombre can be great for either feminine or masculine photos. All right, here's a fun one here. This is of the Badlands, which if you've been there, it is very brown. It is desert. There is some green, but not a whole lot, right? And these photographs can look very dull, but on here, the ombre brightens them all up. It makes it seem so much more fun. And these were taken in 2008. My brother was about to turn 4 years old. I think ombre can be great for kids as well. So this is a really fun one. Like I said, Badlands, it's a I think it's a national park, and you know, you could go with the more outdoorsy traditional colors, but I think ombre is a nice way to add some vibrant colors to what's usually kind of dull looking colors in the photos. This one's really cute. This one is from designer Jody. This is a really nice spring layout, and I like how this one she added this navy blue. That's something a bit different from our other ombre layouts. So of course you can go with these darker colors depending on what theme you're using, but I really like how she was able to use these kind of blues and these spring colors on this ombre paper. It's so cute. I don't know how you cannot like this layout with this little raincoat and everything. So this is a fun one. I think ombre is great. Again, it's usually for our summer layouts, but it absolutely can work for spring as well. I think this looks so good. All right, the next color I'm showing is Twilight. This is one of my favorite colors in the ombre collection. So it has this blue section and it becomes kind of purple and ends with this bright pink corner. I love it. So here's another springtime layout. This is one from Jody again. Her daughter picked up this turtle on this nice spring day, and there is some blue in here, and this is kind of a grayed down blue, which the colors on the ombre collection are kind of grayed down as well. I think as long as they're dark enough to create contrast. And that is the key when you're using ombre. Make sure your colors are contrasting. So if they're the same tone, you won't see them very well. But in this case, I think this grayish blue worked because it's quite a bit darker than the paper. And I love the cloud paper on here. So it's a fun twist on a spring memory. It's not maybe your typical springy type of colors, but I think it works. Here's another outdoorsy one. This one is on my dog, and the colors on here are very different from what I would normally go with. This is, I would say, advanced color theory right here. And I'm not really sure why I chose Twilight for these colors other than to do something a little bit different. Again, I went hiking on this spring day and there was no blossoms of the trees. It was very brown. And so in that case, I want to add a colorful background. I could, again, use the natural colors like green and brown, but I'm like, you know, I like using ombre because I'm like, I want to show it was an exciting trip. I wanted to say this was exciting, and I think ombre tells that story a bit better. And I really like this one. It's full of color, and that's what ombre is for me. It is just so colorful and so fun and vibrant. And again, if you have these dull photos, definitely check out ombre. So besides summer and spring, I think ombre can work really well for winter. Twilight, in my opinion, is the best one for your winter photos out of all the colors. Although any of them could really work if you have the right color scheme. But Twilight, to me, definitely, if you're looking for something different, a change from your usual winter color scheme, I would say try out Twilight. As you can see here, this background works with these blue color pattern papers that I used on this layout. And, you know, when it's snowing, you have a lot of white, and so that white can stand out on this colorful background. I think it looks really good. I love it with winter photos. Here's another one. It's a downtown area, city. This one's of Chicago. This one was made by Tammy Potter, and she had pictures of a mural they saw downtown, and she used those photos for the outer edges of her horizon here. And I think it coordinates with this Twilight paper really well. So if you have something like that, you can try to coordinate it with whatever grid paper you choose. And so I think this was a great choice. And really, these photos could probably fit on a lot of different colors, but I really like how fun. It makes Chicago feel like a fun place to go when you put it on ombre. All right, the next color is Sunset. This is such a beautiful color. And of course, it reminds you of the sunset. It has this, it's kind of like a pinkish orange color. And it becomes orange and then it turns into this bright yellow. Very pretty. We love it. This one's great for summer layouts. So I'm going to show a few ideas with this one. So this layout here was Festival of the Arts. If you have not been to Disney World, in the winter months, they have what's called Festival of the Arts. And this is a layout also made by Tammy Potter. And I think this is a fun one. She has this blue here. It's not an overly bright blue or dark blue. And she has it on the white background. So this is just contrasting enough over this paper, and it's kind of complementary to this orange that's in the paper as well. And I like how in the numbers, she didn't fill the numbers with the white background. She let the grid paper show in the number area. So this is just an idea I'm showing because if you're going to something like an art festival, many towns have little arts and crafts festivals that I recommend checking out and supporting. And Ombre can be a fun one with that. It's a very, it kind of reminds me of an artsy kind of thing with lots of colors. So this is just, to me, a fun theme I wanted to show, that if you're going to something like that, Ombre could be a good choice. This is another festival. This is a food and wine festival at our local theme park. And so some of you may enjoy going to these kind of festivals. And again, I use Sunset. I found this paper and I thought it would coordinate well with this grid paper. So sometimes you can find a pattern paper first and then say, hey, that would actually coordinate with, your ombre paper, whatever grid paper you're using. So really these photos, I could have used it on really any background, but I really like the ombre. This is actually one of my favorite whimsy pages. First of all, this orange paper I have also is kind of an ombre. It has dark orange and light orange. And so it kind of goes with the ombre background. I know that this photo is basically just food. It's mainly showing food, and it's like food can, on the surface, those photos may not seem very exciting, but you put it on an ombre color and all of a sudden it seems amazing and it makes me want to go back to this festival. So this is a really fun one again for festivals. Here's one. This is a twist on a winter layout. So again, I think ombre looks good for summer, spring, and winter. I have never really used these with fall, to be honest. I think these colors are a little bit difficult if you're showing fall, but you never know. You might can get something to work. But again, you can tell it's winter. Winter again can be kind of gray, and the ombre helps brighten up those gray, dull days. It also shows this at a restaurant. I think the ombre fits the personality of this restaurant. It's kind of this, it's almost like a hole-in-the-wall restaurant that was fun to go to in downtown Richmond. So to me, ombre is great for adding personality to your layouts. But again, also great for winter. Maybe surprising to you, but it is great for winter. All right, this is the last color. This one is called Daytime, and it has kind of this bluish green, and it turns into green and into a lighter green. So this one kind of is the most solid color out of all of them. It's mainly different shades of green, I would say. But it's one of our most versatile ones. I noticed we had a lot of pages made with this one. So right here I have another spring layout. This is of a farmer's market. I really like this darker blue on here. It's kind of a grayed down dark blue. And then there's this brown on here. Browns can work really well in ombre, actually. And I really like this one again. Farmers markets, they're not necessarily the most exciting color-wise, but again, you put it on ombre paper and it makes those photos stand out a lot more. This one's a 2-page spread, and I just wanted to show this one. It's another outdoorsy kind of layout. It's us kayaking. And this is completely basic. These are all the basic dies. So there's no, level 2, level 3. These are all level 1, but there's nothing particularly exciting. And I just want to say, if you're using the basic die bundle, I think ombre can be great. When you don't really have a lot going on, it adds some vibrant color to your page. I really like using colors like ombre and other collections we have with multiple colors with when you're using just the basic die bundle, because it adds interest to your layout. All right, I think I have a couple more. So this one I wanted to show again. Ombre is great for masculine pages. This one shows Kevin. If you if you know Kevin, if you've seen the Facebook Lives, you may have heard his voice. And this is when he bought a scooter. And I thought ombre would be a really cool collection to use for these photographs. I mean, it's really cool to go buy a motorcycle or a scooter or something like that. So that's mainly what I was going for. I was like, yeah, that'd be a cool, like, something a bit more interesting to add to such a cool thing to do. And I used these dark blue colors because they were very contrasting. So this is a nice layout. So if your subject is of a man in your life or a son, I think ombre can be a fun one for the adventures they go on, or if they're buying their first car or they're buying a motorcycle. I would say ombre could be a fun one to use for those photos. And I think ombre is great for sports. So this is pickleball. Maybe many of you play pickleball. It seems to be very popular. It's a very similar color scheme to the previous one with the dark blue, but Jody did add this fun orange, which is a nice complement to the whole layout. I really like that a lot. And I will say with complementary, when you add a color that complements, make sure that, so this paper has a lot of different tones of color and the orange is not too overwhelming, and I think that's why it works. And then there's this white outline. So you want to make sure when you use complementary colors, there is some kind of neutral like white or brown on your layout and it's not too overbearing. But this is a really fun one. I think this is great for sports. And I showed the kayaking one a little bit ago. I think ombre works for these photos where it's like taken in the evening. It pops on the layout. All right. That is all for today. I hope all of you were inspired by the ombre grid paper collection. I really love this collection. It does add a lot of color to any layouts you use. And like I said, can usually work for most seasons in the year. Anyway, let me know if there's a grid paper collection you would like to see next. The previous one I did was the happiness collection, and I now have ombre, so let me know what collection you would like to see next. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.